All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakodash. I want to give double honors to my apostle and elders, great millstone, who teach very well while I like this truth from. And salutation out there to the hopeful elect, who continue to push his word in our true faith and sincerity. And also, Shalom to all the men and women and children who sincerely believe upon the words of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai. And today, man, just basically getting and touching on what time that we're in. You know, we're not in the time of hugs and kisses or at a time of peace and happiness. No, we're in the time of war, you know? And that's what these people are not realizing. So that calm spirit, you know, just like in the time of the flood, when they least expected it, that's when the flood came. And just like now, when you least expect evils to come upon the shores of Babylon, that's when it's going to happen. That's why people are shocked about what's going on in ICE and all these different things. But we're not shocked because biblical prophecy put us on game what was going to happen before it even happened. Now, real quick, it says GOP senators try to talk Trump down from invoking Insurrection Act in Minneapolis. Now, real quick, let's just look up the word Insurrection Act. The Insurrection Act of 1807, or just the Insurrection Act, is a federal law that empowers the U.S. President of the United States to nationally deploy the U.S. military and to federalize the National Guard units of individual states in specific circumstances, such as suppression of civil disorder. And that's what they're going to try to do when they bring in the military. They're not bringing the military for hugs and kisses. No, they're bringing it to bring forth the order, really the New World Order, man. Because this draconian system that's going to get ready to get implemented upon the planet Earth, ultimately, in order for them to really invoke, you know, people to take the sea here, but really to, you know, show their power, they're going to have a U.S. officer or a Gurgle troop officer on every block. You know, it's going to be one at your gas station. And if you don't have that little device on you, then he will eliminate you, man. You know, or escort, or he'll escort you out the city. No, but let's go ahead and go back into this article. It says Republican senators are trying to put the brakes on talk of invoking the Insurrection Act to quell angry protesters against the immigration officers in Minneapolis after one fatally shot Renee Good, a 37-year-old mother of three. Now, she was a bulldacker or whatever, and let's say even if this is a psyop, hey, it's still going towards biblical prophecy. Now, you see people are acting up with guys like this, so just imagine how much they'll act up when there's no food left, man. Just imagine how these people are going to act up when it's a lack of bread, you know? Let's go ahead and get something real quick. And this is how we know that we're ultimately at the end times too. This is the book of 2 Ezra 9 verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And a part of us measuring the times is us measuring the prophecies, measuring what's going on. You know, because a lot of these things is ready to be fulfilled. Like that C-hip, this digital lifestyle, the tap system. Hey, it's not set up for no reason. No, it's set up ultimately to push forth that tiny little device to fulfill Revelation 13 and 16. Also, too, Isaiah 54 and 16, man. The Lord has created the smith that blew up the coals in the fire, the waste to destroy. So these ICBM nuclear missiles upon the scene showing you and telling you that the Lord, he's on his way. And this is a part of measuring the time diligently. You know, but it's going to tell you some more signs you should watch for. Continuing on, it says, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then thou shalt understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And it's really Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai coming to visit the planet Earth. You know? And he's not going to come to visit the planet Earth with hugs and kisses. No. He's going to come with a sword. The Lord going to come, and, you know, he's going to come with fire and destruction. And in righteousness doth he make war. Because again, war is what you push for throughout the whole planet Earth. So the Lord is going to give you everything that you pushed out. But let's continue on, though. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. And this is an uproar, man. You know, we already had that thing. And just like it, you know, this reminds me of what happened with that yellow vest army. You know, over there in France. When these guys was going on for years, man, protesting every Saturday to show their displeasure in the government. And they doing the same thing over here in the West, man. They showing the displeasure in ICE and legislations that you push forth. And again, that's a part of biblical prophecy and measuring the time diligently. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked bear the rule, the people mourn. In the kingdom of heaven, bro, there's not going to be no such thing as a protest against the Israelites. These guys, they're not going to, Elam is not going to march down to Elam, march to Elam down to Jerusalem and ask for more rights. No, man. Ultimately, in the kingdom of heaven, these guys, they will be used to their position and they'll be comfortable into the light that the Lord have given them. They're going to be put in their rightful position. And like Esau, rightful position is slavery. That's why he's in the panic sense, man. And he's also in the mindset of desperation. Let's continue on, though. It says, then thou shalt understand that the Most High spoke of these things from the days that are before thee, even from the beginning. So this is biblical prophecy. Let's go ahead and continue on from this article. It says, in invoking the law, which was updated last in 1874, would allow President Trump to mobilize active duty troops or federal National Guard troops to the streets of Minneapolis amid growing civil unrest over actions by immigration custom enforcement officers. Yes, ICE, which is basically their federal agents, man. They're the police, that the elites is paying and things like that. But it also telling you that these people are uproaring against Trump. They're not comfortable here, and the reason why, because you're not the rightful ruler, man. Only thing that you push forth is death. What the scriptures say, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. And you do that very well upon the planet Earth. But now people are getting tired of your BS, man. Everybody is recognizing who the devil that the Bible speaks of is. Continuing on, GOP lawmakers are leery of the prospect of sending a wave of troops to Minneapolis when television and online news in recent days have been dominated by images of masked ICE officers wearing helmets and ballistic resistant vests engage in heated exchanges with protests. So they get down, man. It got to a point, like George Floyd, they were just sitting there and, taking things on the chin. Now these guys, they coming ready for the battle, That's that violent man. And again, it's only going to get worse. They got these different tactical suits. It's going to get to a point when they're going to have upgraded tactical suits and they're going to add a gun to it, man. And it's going to be a point when only brute force is going to be allowed. Go ahead and continue on, though. And that's what people don't understand. It says, ask if invoking the Insurrection Act to deploy troops in Minneapolis to quell the protests would be appropriate. Senator Armed Service Committee Chair Roger Ricker responded, probably not. Senator Lisa said administration needs to be very careful to lower the potential for conflict with the local communities during ICE law operations. So even the senators and the higher ups is telling you guys to calm down because they know what's finna get ready to happen, man. They know what type of brute force that this devil is finna get ready to come down with. They're evil and violent men. And he's going to put it in laws and legislations so it can seem right. Continuing on, though. It says, I have felt that since the fatal shooting a good week ago or so, that we needed to be very, very careful, very cautious in how we proceed, not only in Minnesota, but in other areas, to keep the potential for conflicts as it is relates to ICE informant dialed back. She said, I've said several times that this feels like a climate that we went through during the time of George Floyd, she added, referring to the Black Lives Matter protests that swept the country in 2020. And again, that's how you know it's always something that these people are protesting about, man, and walking, but that don't change nothing. Even recently, down here, we had a couple monks that passed through the whole South. They walking across America to bring forth peace, but that's really going to invoke the Lord to bring forth destruction. Because as you guys want peace, as you guys want happiness and life and love forevermore, that's not what you're pushing forth through your actions. The LGBT running rampant, niggas love pork, chemtrails in the middle of the air, chemicals in your water, forever plastics. This place is wicked. And you could go on all day while this place must be destroyed. But let's continue on, though. It says, a black man during a confrontation with the police in Minneapolis. So George Floyd happened in Minneapolis. Now this is happening in Minneapolis, and keep your eyes on Portland too, because again, it's gonna be certain hot spots for this devil to get down in, man. You know, movies like The Purge, that's not for no reason. You know, this guy, he's finna make this come into real life. Continuing on though, everything was just so tense and violent. We don't need that. So we don't need all this tension and violence. But guess what? The Lord wants this tension and violence to happen upon the planet Earth. Let's go and get this in 2 Ezra 15. This is the book of 2 Ezra 15. I'm going to jump down to verse 14. War unto the world, and them that dwell therein. So the Lord sent destruction into you Babylonians and everybody who's conforming to the system. Why? Because you're going to be destroyed with it. You know, you basically fight for something that hates you. Continuing on, it says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. And like the apostles of how been going into lately, the people talking about some race wars and the black people. No, man, it's really going to be a class wars, because guess what? Esau even hates you more. The scripture says he is even to himself, to whom shall he be good. So even these Joe six-packs who you left behind, these Joe six-packs who you seem as useless, even they're going to fight against you too. Your own people. Why? Because you have been evil to them the whole time, man. Now, you had rulership over the whole planet Earth, and you didn't break it off, man. Only thing you did, you left it amongst the small few, and that small few made the earth a worse place, man. You know, ever since the elites, the higher ups, the bankers got control of this system, things have been messed up. And so that's why these people is finna get ready to fight against you, man. You know, even over there it just past America, even over there in the Middle East, they call you guys the great saint, because you are the adversary of the whole planet Earth. Continuing on though, it says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. Yes, sedition, bucking up against the government and invading one another. That's what the Insurrection Act is going to allow. You know, like the red coats, you go back into that, the red coat army, you know, if they need your house or something, they can kick in your doors and take all your resources, man. But even then, just your homeboy who was cool down the street, he's going to kick in certain doors, go out for the lack of bread. So you can see these people protesting and acting all irate because of a gay girl got shot, because a man got shot in the leg. So imagine how irate they're going to be when there's no food left. You know, that's why I says what, for sedition shall be, so like, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princesses. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So they're not going to trust in their government anymore. And that's why even these other higher up senators say, yeah, man, we need to calm down, because we know if they bring these people in here, they know what's going to happen, man. They're going to be like madmen sparing none. You know, continuing on though, it says, a man should desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So don't be surprised if they cut these different cities off. Don't be surprised if they just have these as chipping cities, or the people that's in their city can't get out unless they have that devices inside them, man. Unless they seem that they're not a threat to the U.S. city. You know, it's going to be a lot of words that's going to be thrown around that try to demonize you for believing in the Lord, man. You know? And it's going to be a lot of people that's going to try to bundle us up with wicked individuals, man. But at the same time, the Lord, he's going to keep us here in these latter days, and especially in these dangerous times, man. The Lord told us, you know, because we have kept the rest of his patience, he's going to keep us from the hour of temptation. It's the time that we're coming on right now. So yeah, I pray this video was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, by Hashem Rakakodash. I want to give double honors to my apostle elders with Millstone and Shalom.